Our product doesn't taste the same anymore. This is one of the most common emails I get from food and drink brands. And when I start asking the questions, 9 times out of 10 is the same story. Someone in the supply chain changed the supplier. And they thought it would be fine because it's the same ingredient on paper. Spoiler alert, is never fine. Today I'm sharing a client story that perfectly illustrates why switching suppliers or ingredients without proper tasting first can undo months of product development work in a matter of weeks. If you want to create food or drink products that actually taste amazing, get the repeat purchases and see your sales go up, you need a flavor strategy. I'm Manon Galizzi, food scientist and flavor expert, and in this podcast I share what I've learned from helping food and drink brands create new products from scratch, choose the right flavor direction, or fix the flavors that are not working. So I had this client, I helped them fix 2 of their chocolate clean label and plant-based products. They were products that had been there on the market for a while, but they were not performing well anymore and they saw their sales were declining. We spent months working together to get the flavors right, and I mean months. Because they were really challenging bases. Plant-based, clean label, no additive, full of goodness, full of plants and seeds and roots. We did tasting after tasting, we refined the chocolate profile, we got the sweetness balance for both products. We tasted it scale up, all worked fine. Finally, everyone signed off the 2 new formulations. The founder is happy, the team is happy, we've cracked it. The 2 projects launched, everything is going well, reviews are very positive, the team is excited, I am over the moon. Few weeks later, I get an email. Manon, the product doesn't taste the same anymore. Something changed. Can you help us fix it? So I'm thinking, what the hell? We just finished these 2 products. Everyone signed off. Everyone was happy. What could have possibly changed in the few weeks? So I start asking questions about the production. Did anything happen during production? Maybe they increased the level of one of the ingredients, forgot to put another one. No, everything was fine. Have you switched any supplier or ingredient recently? Long pause. Turn out, yes, they did. The procurement team had switched to a cheaper cocoa powder supplier. And they didn't tell the R&D team. Because in their mind, cocoa powder is cocoa powder. It's the same ingredient on paper, so what would it matter? It would taste the same. Except it didn't. The new cocoa powder wasn't just different in price, it was different in color and in taste. So one of the products looked completely different. But the worst thing is, it actually tasted different, obviously. One of the products was fine with the new cocoa powder, but the other one tasted completely different. It tasted flat, it didn't taste chocolatey anymore. All of the depth and the richness of the chocolate profile we succeeded to do just went into the bin, gone. So you can imagine everyone was very, very angry. Especially now they'd ordered a very large amount of this new cocoa powder and they're running low on the previous one. And this is a problem I see all the time with food and drink brands I work with, but not just with my clients, but across the industry. Basically, someone in the procurement team see that supplier B is offering the same ingredient, but at a cheaper price than supplier A. They think, brilliant, let's save some money. They make the switch. They don't tell the product development or the R&D team because, well, it's the same ingredient, isn't it? But this is what they don't understand. 2 ingredients can have the same name on paper, but completely different in reality. If we go back to our cocoa powder example, the cocoa powder from supplier A is not the same as the cocoa powder from supplier B. They may have different origin, different processing method, different roasting profile, different level of alkalization. Which means they have different colors, flavors, mouthfeel, and performance in your product. And the same goes obviously with any ingredient. It can be a vanilla extract, a strawberry puree, a coconut milk, some pea protein, or oat flour. You can't just swap supplier or ingredients and expect the product to taste the same. So why does this keep happening? Why do procurement teams make these switches without testing? Because their job is to save money. And from their perspective, they are doing exactly what they are supposed to do. They are finding a cheaper supplier, they are negotiating better prices, they are reducing costs. The problem is they are not food scientists, they are not R&D, they are not tasting the ingredients, they are not understanding how ingredients behave in the formulation. They are looking just at a spreadsheet or a spec, and they just say, yeah, the two specs of the cocoa powder look exactly the same, I can swap one for another. And often there is no communication between the procurement team and the R&D. And I saw it firsthand when I was working either at McVitie's or in the flavor house. Procurement make the decision, they switch the supplier, production starts using the new ingredients, and no one tells the product development team until someone try the product and just hold everything, it doesn't taste the same, or actually come from the consumers. So let's talk about the real cost of switching suppliers without proper testing. There, the obvious cost, you're just under months of product development work. In my client case, we spent months getting those chocolate products right, and a single procurement decision wiped out all of that work. Now we have to reformulate again, which means more trials and more money. But there's also the cost of your brand reputation. Customers who love your product suddenly notice it tastes different or it looks different. They leave negative reviews, they stop buying, they switch to competitors. There's also the cost of your retail relationship. If your product was performing well and suddenly it's not, buyers notice. They may reduce your shelf space, they may delist you. And finally, there are the emotional cost, the frustration, the anger, the feeling that all of your hard work was for nothing. All because someone thought a cocoa powder was just cocoa powder. So how do you protect your product from this happening? First, test new suppliers before switching production, not after. Get samples from the new supplier, run some trials, taste them side by side with your current ingredients. Check if there are any differences in color, taste, and texture. If there are differences, and usually they are, you need to adjust your formulation accordingly. You may need to change the dosage, you may need to tweak other ingredients to compensate. But you figure all of this before you switch your entire production over the new supplier. Second, taste every batch. Even if you haven't intentionally switched suppliers, ingredients can vary from batch to batch. If you are tasting regularly, you can catch these changes early before they become a bigger problem. Third, lock your supplier specifications. Don't just say cocoa powder in your spec, specify the origin, the processes, the color range, the flavor profile. Make it clear in your contract what you're expecting. So if a supplier tries to swap a different version, you have ground to push back. And fourth, and this is the most important one, communication between procurement and R&D is essential. Procurement obviously need to understand that ingredients can't be just changeable. That switching suppliers has implications on the final product, and they need to involve R&D in this decision. But R&D needs to build relationship with procurement, make it easy for them to ask questions and safe for them to flag when they are considering a switch and why. Because ultimately, you're all on the same team. You all want the product to succeed, of course, but that only happens when everyone is working together. So if your product suddenly doesn't taste the same anymore and you have no idea why, here's the first question you need to ask. Has anything changed to your supply chain? And sometimes we jumped directly to flavors. What happened to the flavor? Does it need to be stronger? But 9 times out of 10 is coming from the supplier or the production. Maybe the production team has made a mistake, or maybe someone switched suppliers. Maybe your current supplier switched their own supplier without telling you. Maybe there's been a change in sourcing or processing due to availability issue, for example. But you need to investigate the base of your product first before you start trying to fix the flavors. And when you're investigating, taste your base on its own. Don't just taste the final flavored product. Taste the unflavored base and the flavored base, so you know where the problems come from. Check all of the characteristics. Is it sweeter than before? Is it more bitter? Is it more astringent? Is it fattier? Does it have any off note that were not there before? So you can narrow down where the problem is. Compare it to your previous batches if you have samples, or tasting alongside your benchmark product. Because if your base has changed, no amount of flavoring is going to fix it. You need to address the base issue first. I understand that cost pressure is real. I understand that procurement teams are under pressure to find saving wherever they can. But cutting costs on ingredients without proper testing is a false economy. Because yes, you may save £500 on a cheaper cocoa powder. But if that cheaper cocoa powder ruins your product and you lose customers and you have to reformulate and you damage your retail relationship and your brand image, you've just cost your business thousands of pounds. The smartest food and drink brands I work with understand this. They test new suppliers properly, they involve their product development team in procurement decisions, they taste every batch. Because they know that consistency is everything, that customers expect their product to taste the same every single time, and that protecting that consistency is worth the investment. So if you're a food and drink brand, please talk to your procurement team. Make sure they understand that ingredients matter, that switching suppliers has consequences. And if you found that episode helpful, please leave a review on whatever platform you're listening to this podcast. Your review genuinely helps this podcast grow and make it more visible to other food and drink brands who are struggling with the same challenging you may be facing. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye!